centuries, eagles have soared from their lofty peaks and dominated the sky. Few dare to challenge the eagle in his element. For any invader who trespasses in their sanctuary, the response is always the same: swift, accurate, and if need be, deadly. There is another eagle, namesake to this bird of prey, the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle, a fighter aircraft so respected that no matter where it flies, that too is Eagle country. "24 hours a day, 52 weeks a year, F-15 pilots and crews stand alert, ready to respond to any penetration of their aerial shield. When the balloon goes up, they go. It may just be an exercise, a stray aircraft, or the real thing. Any interceptor must be clearly a defender. Defenders cannot choose their opponent or when he will strike. They cannot choose the speed of their fight, or the altitude, or the place. They cannot choose, so they must be ready.
Basically, when the horn first goes off, you're pretty much just interested in getting down to your airplane and getting started and ready to go as fast as you can. And after that, you maybe have a little bit of time to think about what you're going to do. Usually about 2 minutes after you start, you also know whether it's priority 1 or priority 2 scramble.
In the block, 15 to 18. 04. Fuzzy 4, cut off ID. Fuzzy 4, fence check. 4. Fuzzy 4, confirm fence check.
Fuzzy 4, fence check.
Fuzzy 4, low Christian target, 33020.
For 20 miles.
Contact target.
Fuzzy 4, Judy, 330, 20 miles.
Roger, Judy. Fuzzy 4, clear to fire.
Fuzzy 04 is clear to fire.
Mako 1, marine target.
10 miles.
Fuzzy 4, 10 miles.
Nomad 3. 10 mile 3, tally ho.
The Eagle was conceived and designed for one purpose: to be the world's best interceptor aircraft with one straightforward mission: to intercept, identify, and if necessary, destroy any hostile aircraft or missile penetrating their area of responsibility. At any altitude, at any speed, in any weather, at any time, against any foe. There is just one best fighter today: the Eagle. Maintaining aircraft on alert requires constant readiness, training, and preparation for wartime aerial combat. Under ideal conditions, it's a test of man and machine. In today's world, where the ideal is seldom achieved and complete use of each resource is imperative, maintaining the edge in air combat is not a matter of luck. It's a result of professionalism in every aspect of squadron life. From administration to avionics, from maintenance to munitions, from the flight line to the front office, it's the kind of job that requires only the best of man and machine and takes both to their limits and then beyond, together setting new standards of performance.
Our objective is to engage all targets that transcend our assigned area of responsibility. Weather. Standard Washington weather right now. 20,000 scattered, 4,000 broken, 8,000 overcast. The big thing is out in the area, how it's going to affect the missions out there, and we'll move cap altitudes and cap positions in order to avoid the weather out there. Desired objectives is to kill everybody out there in our airspace.
I'd say, as anyone gets a commit, go shoot them. If it's 30 miles or less, don't try handing it off, because what we had last night was he's out there, turn around, and another one guy come in and not get the target. So if you've got the first commit, you need to go shoot the target, be the killer, and get them and not wait for the handoff. Because in that confusion, we've lost a few targets. Let's concentrate on killing tonight. Did some good flying last night, but tonight we want to do a little more killing.
To have an outstanding flying machine and deadly weaponry is a help, but pilot quality is the most important asset, which can only be attained by first-class training. Having an aircraft with the ability to outfly any actual or projected fighter in the world is not enough. The F-15 pilot must be able to outfight them. To achieve such a task requires the best that both men and machines can deliver, constantly honed to razor-edge sharpness. For Eagle drivers, maintaining that critical edge can only be accomplished by flying realistic combat training.
fire.
72.
Echo 1, green target.
Echo 1, green target. And 72 is cleared to fire. 72 is lost duty, negative contact.
72, target 02514, tracking 200. 72, target 030, 10 miles.
Roger, 72, Judy, clear.
72, roger, Judy. 72, clear to fire.
72, Fox 1. Fox 1. 301, Fox 12. One blind, two, no tally, blind. Call me now, Mark. Okay, tally one, blind. Engage. Okay, go left turn, then it's my left at 9, Mark. Tally, I'm after him. Power visual, press. Fox 1. Roger, knock it off, knock it off. Knock it off, knock it off. Okay, knock it off. Almost knock it off.
Operating a fighter wing demands professionalism, dedication, and hard work. It requires hundreds of men and women at dozens of locations, each with special talents and skills, all coordinated to one single goal: be ready and keep the Eagles flying.
A squadron commander's job is varied. It's a mosaic. I never have a typical day, except maybe Sunday. The problems you address are different each day. One day you may focus on a particular task. The next day, there may be many. Besides, it's not the squadron commander who makes the squadron, it's the people. Now that may sound like an old saw, but it's true. Those people make all the difference in the world. You give them a job to do, and they go out and do it.
How you doing today, Babcock? How's 097?
You end up being the go-between, between the mission or that day's problem and the people who do the job.
Well, let's make it...
There was some discussion about handpicking all the people to fly and maintain this airplane. We didn't do that. The personnel system picked a cross-section of good Air Force people, and we're doing very well flying and maintaining the F-15 with those people.
Bogies now, 25644.
Roger, Telio. I've got one, and he's in a left-hand turn. It looks like the Lizard. I'm picking it up.
Roger.
Okay, I got a Telio. The other one, he's further off to my left. I'll take him if you've got the Lizard.
Roger, I've got the Lizard.
Roger, I'm engaged on the other one.
The F-15 is really a vast improvement over earlier fighters. The airplane was designed to be flown and fought head out of the cockpit by one man, and in my opinion, it meets that goal. I can operate all my weapon systems while engaged and under 7 Gs, without moving any more than my fingers.
Okay.
I think they have designed this airplane around the pilot instead of putting the pilot in last. It's a simple system to operate. It's a good airplane.
You guys coming back forward to about 190?
That's fair.
You got a 38 off your right, 2 o'clock, 5.
Returning.
Control, Valley.
Bandit, mark.
Valley.
Engage.
Confirm you're engaged.
You engage. I'll be dropped north, landing.
Okay, and knock it off. Yep. Knock it off. Watch your nose.
Knock it off, knock it off.
first question is, if we don't have any prior knowledge, which we normally don't, when the horn goes off as to what we're actually scrambling against, whether it be an airliner who's just lost and off course, or whether it's some enemy threat that is challenging European airspace.
Averaging this year a total of only 4 points a game, and he has 4 already.
To survive and win in air combat maneuvering, you have to be able to take on any adversary. He can and will choose the terms. But the Eagle can go where it's needed, day or night, good weather or bad. This is why the U.S. Air Force assigned the F-15 to NATO's central region in Europe. Their mission is to control the skies so that other aircraft can provide the support needed to win the ground war. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 4 F-15 Eagles are on air defense alert at Bitburg Air Base, Germany. They sit at the end of the runway in the Zulu Alert facility, armed and ready to fly and fight on a moment's notice to protect NATO skies. With the East German border within 15 minutes flying time, Zulu Alert at Bitburg helps protect more than 40,000 square miles of sky over southern Germany. Zulu Alert is a peacetime mission, but when the call comes to scramble, not one man knows for sure what threat he'll face. Germany's frontline defense pilots play each one for real. Within minutes, Eagles are climbing faster than any aircraft in the world to meet the aggressor.
Contact bogey.
Most of these scrambles are practice and usually occur once a day. But about once a week, the F-15s must intercept an unidentified aircraft. To win in the sky, you must first prepare on the ground. The Eagle was designed to be easy to maintain and service. In fact, an engine can be changed in 20 minutes, less time than it takes you to change a flat tire on your car.
Crew chief takes care of the forms, make sure that they're right at all times, make sure that the plane's ready to fly for the pilot, takes care of it. He makes sure all the specialists do the work, and if they need anything, they come to him. The crew chief should know. Wanted to work on a fighter airplane. I never worked on one before. It's easy for the crew chief to work on. It's not a super hard job to get it ready to go again. I mean, it involves a lot of work, but maintenance-wise, it's very easy. It's nice to work on.
The Eagle's weapon system gives it long-range eyes to acquire, identify, track, and fire on a hostile aircraft before it sees him. With its Hughes radar, the Eagle can patrol more than 100,000 square miles per hour and look up at a high-flying intruder or look down to see an aircraft attempting a ground-hugging penetration. The Eagle is armed with the latest version of the radar-guided AIM-7 Sparrow and heat-seeking AIM-9 Sidewinder missile, along with a 20mm cannon, firing up to 6,000 rounds per minute. In Europe, where the distance to the border is short, the Eagle can climb 12 miles in less than 2 minutes after leaving the ground. Nothing short of a rocket will get off the line and into action as fast and when speed is required. The F-15 can deliver at more than 2.5 times the speed of sound. Every 2 years at Tyndall Air Force Base in Florida, U.S. Air Force, Air National Guard, and Canadian Top Guns gather for America's major fighter weapons meet. William Tell gives the best air-to-air fighter pilots the chance to compete in all aspects of their trade. That means not just flying, but also aircraft and munitions maintenance and serviceability and ground control intercepts. In one of the mission profiles, Eagles make head-on missile attacks on a converted F-100 Super Sabre, now flying as an unmanned target drone. Ground-based weapons controllers lead the pilots through electronic countermeasures, chaff, and evasive maneuvers to find the target drone. You can judge the results for yourself.
'72, Fox 1. '72, Fox 1.
301, Fox 1.
Turn the drone, turn the drone.
Drone's turning.
F-15 pilots are also confronted with simulated air-to-air threats. And with hands-on use of the latest weapons, participants gain experience and knowledge on a whole range of air operations. It's the closest thing to combat, short of actual combat.
Wolf 21 flight landing tower, wind 210 at 20. Change to departure control frequency, monitor guard channel, cleared for takeoff. Right after the flight, we go into maintenance debrief. We tell the specialists there how the airplane performed. Its purpose is to provide good communication between the guy who flies the airplane and the guys who turn the wrenches.
The combat radius of the F-15 can be extended with the low-drag conformal fuel tanks known as fast packs. These streamlined pallet tanks installed along the fuselage can carry about 10,000 pounds of fuel, or 227 cubic feet of equipment, with no reduction in the armament stations. This additional fuel gives the F-15 greater mission flexibility, lower high-speed runs, and more time in the air. When distance is required, unrefueled and configured with external tanks, the F-15 has flown 5-hour missions, and with mid-air refueling, has flown non-stop from the American Midwest to Europe.
Stand by, the air-to-air tack in and stand by. And the most important thing, the subway door is going to come open. Roger that. It's open. Eagle 7 pre-tag, contact stabilized and ready.
Roger, you cleared to the contact position, 32's ready. 15 feet. 10. 5, 3, 2, good.
F-15 pilots and crews regularly participate in another tactical air command exercise called Red Flag. They and their support units deploy to Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada, to be a part of a combat training exercise that involves more than 23 aircraft types, 300 total aircraft, and 4,500 missions. Its aim is to provide a fighter unit with as realistic a combat environment as possible. Before any missile is launched or any gun is fired, they must be loaded. Ground crews spend hundreds of hours practicing for these exercises. The performance of the ground crew is as critical to the success of the mission as any flying which will be done by the pilot.
deploy a wall of eagles for maximum attrition of all the floggers. We want to work on our visual mutual support as a force ship, and certainly work on our comm.
Remember, the mission out here in 1st Air Force and in the FIZ is attack warning and assessment. To be able to do that, we have to identify anyone entering this zone around Iceland.
Our job is to get the escort, strip them, and then let the other guys go for the strikers.
The name of the game today, gentlemen, is going to be emphasizing all aspect weapons employment, us and not them, and BVR will be authorized, so I'd like to see us out there employing front aspect shots, taking people out.
We want to target max number of entities, maintain force-ship mutual support, maintain visual element support, accept 0 losses. Everybody's job in here to kill their sort and then kill somebody else.
Remember, you have the AIM-7, the AIM-9, as well as the gun. When you're in too close for a missile shot, close for guns. Take that snapshot. Think about separating. Continue to press the bandit. Questions? Let's do it.
To make combat training as realistic as possible, missions are flown against dissimilar aircraft. Aircraft of other Air Force units, as well as carrier-based naval aircraft. In these scenarios, the enemy may be simulated, but the action is real. In all air combat, the variable is always the pilot. How much maneuver potential he extracts from his aircraft will determine his success in the engagement. The trick is to keep his head out of the cockpit, to reduce his reaction time, to fly the aircraft instead of watching over it, to spend less time with the machine and more time with the fight outside. Keeping track of his enemy is the key to staying alive. You can bet his adversary knows what he can do and how he's likely to do it. Having heard it in the classroom is a lot different than being there.
Turn on the reversal. Box 1 on the F5, nose down. ATOL on the turkey on the left turn. Okay, bogey on the left side. I got him. 3.5 minutes. Hover's out of here. F4 belly, left side, 10 o'clock. I thought you got F4. Okay, left side. You got a turkey high, which are 8 o'clock. Bring it around hard. Keep it up hard, foot on it. Alright, I got it. Hop's got a... That's all on F4. F14 starboard through 240. Okay, let's find the Phantom and kill him. Hey, the Phantom just joined the fight, headed north. Okay, got a turkey. Need a call on the, hey, dog, let's break it left. We got an F14 behind us. Break it left. Okay, break toward and down. Kick your right 4 o'clock. Yeah, tell me how his nose isn't on me, but I'm in deep trouble here. We're gonna bail you out, man. I'll get her on his way. Okay, he's got a about 50 to go with his nose. Okay, Drake. Okay. Okay, he's pitched off on the Maybright back starboard, dog. And Phil, you're about to get gunned. Oh, what a beautiful shot.
Eagles have long range to get to the action wherever it is. The ability to pace and conserve for the crucial moment, and then deliver the knockout punch to come away with the victory.
Okay, the Hawks got the tally on him. Okay, tally on one's passing my left side now. One coming up on you. There's one coming up pretty high. Okay, F5 down below. She got him 7. Okay. That's on the Phantom. There's the guns on the F-14. Okay, I got him locked. He's on 20 right at 4 miles. Roger that. Got a tally. Okay. Tally engaged. Let's knock this one off. How'd you knock it off? So how'd you knock it off? I think we pressed them pretty good that time. Cherokee Blues or RTB VFR. Copy, and position 24048. Roger that.
There are more ways to get killed flying fighters than in practically any other human endeavor. Even so, the Eagle reached the millionth flight hour milestone with the safest record of any fighter in the history of the United States Air Force. It continues to hold the record, with only 4.1 F-15s lost per 100,000 flight hours. Pilots at Schusterberg Air Base in the Netherlands have passed 50,000 flight hours without a single major accident.
Technically defined, our role here is air defense in the central region. We would envision any attack by the Warsaw Pact countries would be led primarily by their fighter bomber type aircraft with attacks on our resources, whether it be our airfields or our armor or ground forces, whatever. They would also, we would envision, be accompanied by some sort of cover, their high performance big aircraft. And our mission, of course, is to defend against that. We would attempt to turn those attacks back.
plane, make sure we get specialists out to work it, and make sure the plane's ready to go again, and make sure it's ready.
The rest of the plane's good.
Maintaining the edge in air combat requires superior training, superior aircraft, and superior pilots. In planning each mission, attention is paid to every detail. Where will today's mission take place? Over the North Sea, Holland, the Grand Canyon.
Okay, time back. We spent about an hour in the pre-flight briefing talking over our mission. We'll go over the positions for the flight, the maneuvers we'll be using, and review the radio procedures.
Depart the building at 8:10. Start at 8:30.
Essentially, everything we're going to do we'll cover in that briefing.
0402. Flying an LFI 200 profile out to Eagle.
One day we might have aerial gunnery practice. The next day we might go out and do intercepts. Or we may do intercepts, air refuel, and then come back and do some ACM. Today we'll be flying air combat tactics against other aircraft.
In actual combat over the skies of the Middle East, the Eagle has a kill-loss ratio of 56-0, a record which has never been surpassed in the history of air combat.
Eagle Control, Dragon 1, taxi aircraft 0025.
The Eagle first flew in July 1972. The F-15 is more than 15 years old, and over 1,000 have been delivered to the United States Air Force Tactical Air Command, the United States Air Forces in Europe and Pacific Air Forces, Israel, Japan, and Saudi Arabia. The Eagle is still considered the foremost air superiority fighter, despite continuing advances in the capabilities of its potential adversaries. any future threat, McDonnell Douglas has been delivering to the U.S. Air Force C and D model F-15s. These new aircraft are part of a multi-stage improvement program. This program equips the Eagle with an improved central computer, arms control system, and radar. The first F-15 designed for long-range interdiction missions as well as air superiority is being flight tested by McDonnell Douglas and the U.S. Air Force at Edwards Air Force Base in California. Designated F-15E dual-role fighter, the Air Force plans to buy 392 F-15Es to perform long-range, heavy payload ground attack missions as well as serve in the traditional air superiority roles. Let's listen as Irv Burroughs, the first pilot to fly the original F-15 in 1972, takes us through an in-depth briefing on this latest addition to the Eagle's Nest.
The 14 years that have passed since first flight, the F-15 Eagle, built by Mac Air, has dominated the skies of the world as the Air Force's air superiority fighter. And in this role, the Eagle will continue to defend the United States and our allies for many years. This new breed of Eagle, the F-15E, will retain that capability, but it is also designed to strike high-value ground targets in night and in poor weather. Its new mission, long-range interdiction, requires large payload capability as well as outstanding air superiority characteristics. Let's look at some of the changes that have been made to the Eagle, which is being displayed here. 60% of the airframe has been changed to make it stronger, giving the F-15E the ability to take off with a gross weight of up to 81,000 pounds and sustain a 9G load factor throughout its flight envelope. The same structural changes will extend its life expectancy to 16,000 hours of flight, or twice that of the earlier F-15s. And it will be able to carry up to 24,500 pounds of weapons. The low-drag conformal fuel tanks will add about 9,000 pounds of fuel. These tanks will carry weapons on stub pylons rather than on conventional carriage racks, reducing drag and thus stretching the range of the Eagle. That's just the airframe. The F-15E, as well as some recently delivered Cs and Ds, will be powered by two new Pratt & Whitney F-100-220 engines, which incorporate the latest in digital technology to provide better performance and better maintenance. Those of you who've seen the F-15 perform in air shows may find it hard to believe that it can accelerate faster or maneuver better, but that's what will happen with these new engines. For example, with a digital electronic control system, the F-15 pilot can accelerate from idle power to maximum afterburner in under 4 seconds, 40% faster than they could with the previous engine control system. Faster engine acceleration means quicker takeoffs and crisper response while maneuvering. The new engine is more maintainable as well. The digital system's components were designed with externally mounted modules that can be changed without removing the engine. This modular system has reduced the number of man-hours required to maintain the power plant by more than 50%. A system that automatically trims the engine will eliminate costly trim runs and result in a 6% savings in fuel costs. In addition, the 220 engine has an engine monitoring system that records engine data and faults, eliminating the need for manual tracking. It will substantially simplify engine troubleshooting and repair. And for the future, the F-15E has a new technology engine bay designed to accept other engines which may be desired to meet developing requirements. McAir has blazed a trail for the aerospace industry in developing a very sophisticated process called superplastic forming and diffusion bonding to help make this new engine bay. The process allows us to form larger parts from single pieces of metal, which reduces the number of fasteners and overall weight of the airplane at a lower manufacturing cost. To help guide the F-15E's crew over long distances in darkness and poor weather, several new avionics systems have been incorporated. The new inertial navigation system, developed by Honeywell, uses a highly reliable ring laser gyro to continuously determine the aircraft's position and provide that information through the computer to the various systems and displays in the cockpit, including a new moving map. This new system will feature reliability on the order of 10 times that of its forerunner. The Hughes APG-70 radar will find the target at long ranges. For example, from more than 80 miles away, at low altitude, the crew will be able to pick out bridges and airfields on the radar display. Nearing the target, the resolution becomes greater, and smaller targets, such as vehicles, are easily detected. The high-resolution radar is designed to create and freeze the maps during quick sweeps of the target area so that it may be shut down for much of the penetration portion of the mission, thus minimizing the opportunities for detection from enemy defensive systems. The Martin Marietta Lantern system, and Lantern stands for Low Altitude Navigation and Targeting Infrared for Night. The Lantern system is used for night and under-weather operations. The Lantern system consists of 2 pods which you can see beneath the aircraft. The navigation pod on the left side of the airplane as you face it contains a forward-looking infrared, known as FLIR, infrared sensor to create a daylight quality video presentation at night on the cockpit displays. The pod also contains a terrain following radar which provides the pilot with visual guidance to allow him to fly close to the terrain in the darkness. The targeting pod contains a high-resolution FLIR, a missile bore sight correlator, and a laser designator. The tracking FLIR will aid the crew in acquiring targets and aiming weapons from as far away as 10 miles. Once tracking has been started, targeting information is handed off to the Maverick infrared missiles automatically through the correlator. For laser-guided bomb operations, the laser designator provides a precise aim point for weapon delivery. The E-model pilot will fly the aircraft with a new digital flight control system created by Lear Sigler. This system will feature an automatic terrain following mode, which will use information from the Lantern radar, and at the pilot's option, control the Eagle without pilot input at low altitude and at high speeds. For increased safety, the system will be triply redundant. The addition of these improvements will enable the F-15E to deliver weapons at night and in poor weather as accurately as today's best attack aircraft can in the daylight. These new systems will be manageable thanks to a complete update of the F-15E pilot's cockpit, but the most important addition to the F-15E is the new rear cockpit designed specifically for a weapon system operator. On 4 cathode ray tubes, the operator can display information from the radar, electronic warfare, or infrared sensors, monitor aircraft or weapon status and possible threats, select targets, and use an electronic moving map to navigate. 2-hand controllers are used to select the new displays and to refine the targeting information. Displays can be moved from one screen to another and are chosen from a menu of display options. In addition to the 3 similar tubes in the front seat, the pilot has a transparent glass screen called a heads-up display, or HUD, in front of him at eye level that displays vital flight and tactical information. Although this display has been in all of our Eagles, The E model has a new and expanded HUD and is improved to carry more information that can be interpreted more easily. At night, the HUD is even more important because it displays a video picture generated by the FLIR sensor that is identical to a daylight view of the world. As in all earlier F-15s, the pilot can select his weapon options and displays with switches mounted on the stick and throttle and without having to look into the cockpit. Already the safest fighter in the United States Air Force history, the new version of the Eagle will provide a long-range ground attack capability without sacrificing its ability to survive, since it will retain all its air-to-air weaponry as well as its speed and maneuverability. Protection from ground-based threats is enhanced by the triply redundant digital flight control system, self-sealing fuel feed tanks and fuel lines, fire-retardant foam in the fuel tanks and voids, and a strengthened structure. Electronic protection is provided by an integrated internal tactical electronic warfare system. This system includes a radar warning receiver and active electronic systems designed to deceive enemy sensors. To confuse enemy infrared missiles, flares can be released and chaff can be expended to deceive enemy radars and disrupt radar-guided missiles. The first 3 F-15Es will be used in a rigorous flight test program at Edwards Air Force Base in California and in a weapons evaluation at Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. The pilots who will start training to fly the F-15E will start at Luke Air Force Base in Arizona in 1988.